What is up, everybody? It's Joe from JLW Games coming at you with another cool video, back and playing a coaster in Rustic City. And today we're going to be working more on the mine train coaster quite a bit. So we're going to be getting a lot of stuff done, a little bit of the boring stuff, and also making this area just look a little bit better. And we get that much closer to finishing up this area, because this will probably take quite a few more episodes. But we're committed, and we're going to be getting it done as soon as we can, and no matter how many hours it takes, because of custom supports and all. You know, that's this is the first time I've really used custom supports before, and it's something I've been wanting to do, is to do wooden supports on the mine train coaster, and you see a lot of those around, so I'm very excited for that. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be doing a lot of the support structures for the mine train coaster, and we're also going to work on one of the tunnels and make that look kind of like a mine entrance here. As you we start to get some wooden walls in the tunnel, and just kind of adjust it to where it's realistic, to where guests can't reach out and just touch everything around them because they're in a moving car. We don't want that because of safety. So we're going to adjust that and make this kind of look like a little mine hole in a way. So we're going to do that, and going into the lift hill section, and then we also do the supports on the lift hill as well, which I had to build a new lift hill system, I had to make the taller supports, which was a lot, not too hard actually. I just took the existing one and just made it longer, so you'll see that later down the line. So what I wanted to do is make this look like kind of like a mine train entrance, you know, tunnel and everything, just for the this first tunnel was going to be the easiest, so I decided to start off with it and figure out what I'm going to do for the big tunnel later on. The larger tunnel is going to take longer and a little bit more thinking through, so I decided to do this one first to kind of get a taste of what I'm getting into, pretty much. And this is going to be the mine, and a lot of you guys are coming up with some great story ideas for the mine train and everything. It's hard to choose one. I don't know, I might try and do a mixture of some of the stories with some of them to try and get a piece of different stories together. You guys are coming up with some really amazing storylines, and I really appreciate it. You guys are doing awesome, so keep those coming. If you got any more stories, storylines for the ride, please keep them coming. I love hearing some of your guys' ideas. It even helps me try and come up with my own, or who knows, maybe I'll even pick one of your guys' storylines, and I'll give you credit completely if I do end up using your story that you came up with. So again, keep those storylines coming. I love to hear them, and I love giving my rides a storyline and theme heavily through the entire ride. It always helps out. So right now it's obviously a mine train theme, of course, and you guys can go from there. So if a lot of you guys have been going with a steam train, storyline, or even a mining storyline, different stuff like that, and you guys have some really cool ideas. So just keep those coming, and again, it will be a couple of episodes. I'm not going to settle on a name just yet until I hear maybe some more ideas and figure out for myself, because this park isn't necessarily completely planned out completely, but I knew I wanted to do this coaster for sure, and that's how it all kind of started out. And I don't know what other kind of coasters. I do want to try and throw in a launch coaster somewhere, and then maybe a smaller kind of B&M coaster somewhere as well. I don't know, just a couple of coasters. There's not going to be a ton of coasters, but just a few to get the park started, and it's going to be nice. So just so if some people are wondering, this is part of the JLW Entertainment chain. Rustic City will be a part of the JLW Entertainment chain. Now, when's it going to open is a good question, because I don't know if it's going to open, depending if I get it open or have time to get it open in 2018, we'll see. But as of right now, Arrow Valley is set to open in 2018, and also hopefully Celebration City will be set to open in 2018 as well. So those are going to be the two priority builds that I'm going to be working on. Of course, you're seeing a lot more episodes of this park, because again, this is going to be a park that's going to be heavily detailed and it's going to take up a lot of episodes. So I'm doing my best to maybe even open this park in 2018 as well. So it's going to be hard. Arrow Valley, yeah, I'm going to have to spend some time on it as well, but I'm going to be spending a lot of time on it during the off season, of course, and then this as well. So once I get a lot of time on my hands, I'll be recording these nonstop, and I can't wait for that. So we're already in October, so very exciting, and I'm trying to see if there ain't a possibility. I might be working on it in the future of making these time lapses a little bit more higher quality. It kind of glitches the footage out just a little bit, because right now I'm not using the greatest time-lapsing software to time-lapse these videos, so I'm trying to think of something a little bit better. And I usually use Sony Vegas Pro, and I don't exactly know how to speed that up any faster than what I have been doing. So I don't know how to speed footage up properly on there. I know you can hold control and shrink the footage down, and that only lets you go so far. You can only do that so much, you know. And the program I'm using, it shows that I am speeding it up 8 times currently right now. So as of doing it in Vegas Pro, I'm not entirely sure how to do it. I've even looked it up and I can't find it. So because I want to speed footage up, but not that way that it does it there, because I want to know if it's speeding up by 2 times, 3, 4, 5 times, you know what I mean. So anyways, yeah, so we get into the supporting structure for the lift hill here, and just kind of the second half of the ride, which is going to have the largest support structures. And again, I didn't know how this was going to turn out, but it turned out really nicely, and I'm pretty satisfied with how it turned out. Again, I wanted the wooden supports with the mine train kind of coaster, because I feel like I like the feel of the wooden, so it kind of makes it like a hybrid coaster in a way. It has wooden supports with steel track, so it's just kind of like a typical mine train. A lot of mine trains do have wooden supports, so that's kind of what I wanted here. And then with the supporting here, I had to do a little bit of gateway work, and that way that it could fit through the track could fit underneath the lift hill where it crosses underneath. And I just had to do a little gateway work, and I just built the supports like I normally would, and just broke off some other pieces and created a gateway to open up the track. That way it's not in the way. So as you can see here, and then I do some horizontal beams. I'm thinking about adding some horizontal beams anyways to connect a lot of these supports in the first place, just to make it a little bit more cooler, and I think most of them do have that. So I want these wooden supports to be kind of like some unique structures. So yeah, they're gonna turn out cool, and I'm thinking about going in and custom getting rid of like some of those cross beams at the bottom that aren't needed, that are going straight into the ground. I don't know if I'll go into that much detail, but I do really want to. And then of course I got to be very careful with some of these the footers and supports to make sure that I don't go into the tunnels. That's going to be another challenge as well that I'm going to be facing. And of course all these darn footers everywhere makes it another challenge, because you have to individually place these. I wish I could have them connected with the footers. I don't know a good way of doing that unless the track was all the same height. So unless I was using the same height for supporting, you know, it's really hard to actually do that, and you have to like custom place them, you know, place each one at a time, and that's kind of like a difficult thing. So this park is probably going to get very, very laggy very quick, and just because of all the pieces that I am using, especially for like custom supporting and all the custom scenery items that I am going to be placing into it. And I did want to add a lot of like terrainy sections of the park as well. The entrance is going to be kind of a flat area, but there's going to be a lot of a couple of hills and some rides that are going to be utilizing the terrain very well, just like this coaster, of course. And I wanted to make a mine train coaster similar to like Thunderation at Silver City in this park, and that's kind of what I was going for, because it is kind of similar and very similar in this fashion, where it turns out of the station, and the second part of the ride there's no lift hill until the second part of the ride, because it goes down all this natural hillsides and stuff like that. That makes it really, really cool. So again, with all this time-lapsing parts that are really kind of rough around the edges with quality-wise, so I'm going to be working on that and try and figuring out a different way to utilize these time lapses a little bit better, so they're just a little bit higher quality on the footage. So otherwise they just kind of get in the way. So this is kind of like a difficult spot that I'm going in, because these footers go in the ground very deep, and there's a part that goes over the tunnel with this track, and I don't want that to go through inside the tunnel. So I had to create like this different kind of unique supporting structure that you're going to see here later on. I don't know what I'm going to do for footers just yet. I have an idea of what I think I'm going to do, but as of right now, I just kind of left it there. It's kind of some unique supporting structures going into this turn right here, for the simple fact it's very low to the ground. It's like hugging the ground very, very closely, and that's the one thing with this coaster. There's not a lot of supporting tall support textures, except for the lift hill. That's like the tallest part of the structure, and the rest of it is literally hugging the ground. So it's a very terrain-hungry coaster, terrain-hugging coaster. That's going to be really cool. So the support structures on this were going to have to be just slightly different. So I made these like slanted kind of beams that are going to go along with this, and I might add some of these slanted beams on some of the support structures that I have done later on, and just kind of like maybe some off-screen boring work that I might not even do in a time lapse, just because it's just too long and boring. I might work on that later on, just to add that little bit of piece of realism and just believableness that this could really exist in real life, and that's kind of the idea with it. So so all these supporting structures I had to keep very low to the ground, not going into the ground too much, because again, we have a tunnel right underneath here, and I don't want it to climb through that and end up showing. So as for the footers, I want to use kind of like the same footers, but it's going to be kind of hard to figure out how those are going to be placed. And I got an idea. We'll see how it works, but as of right now, this is how it's going to turn out. And we don't have a whole lot of supporting left just yet. We got a lot of it done in this episode, so I think by next episode we might get a lot of the supporting done, the support structures done for most of the ride. I think we'll get the end part of the supporting down, and then all we have left is the tunnel and the track work around there, the big helix section, kind of in that area, and then that will be kind of like that. So I really liked how the wooden support structure turned out on the lift hill and the drop here. I think it turned out really nicely, and it's looking really good. It looks it's got its own unique kind of look to it, and I like the way it looks because it looks different. It's not something you usually see a lot in playing a coaster, so that's what I like about it, is it's got its own uniqueness to it, and it's not something you see the same of all the time. And that's going to be one of my goals with some of my coasters and rides. I want them to look different than what you're used to in playing a coaster. That's going to be the idea behind some of these. So I'm very excited to see how all this turns out. I think it's going to be an amazing park, and I want to hear what you guys think as well. You guys seem to be liking this park a lot, and I can't wait to move on to my next park, because I got some ideas as well. One of my ideas that I kind of want to work on, maybe eventually in the future, this might be for way further down the line. I'm thinking about the sci-fi park a lot. I've gotten a lot of requests to do a sci-fi park, and I really need to get around to that because I'm not used to building sci-fi kind of themes. So hopefully it won't be too bad. But I want to build an indoor park. I think it would be a great idea for the sci-fi idea, for the simple fact that it won't be a very big park. So I want to build kind of like a smaller sci-fi park to get me started, because again, I'm not used to building that theme, and I don't know how well I'll be at it. So here we are going into the queue line a little bit more, and this is like the last building section that I have to do. And it's going to be just a covered queue area that's not going to have a lot of theming. It's just like an extended queue area, and I'm going to make it to where make it look like this is just an extended part, an optional part. So in all reality, the operators can open and close that accordingly depending on how big the attendance is for the day. So I'm going to make it look like you can shortcut through those pathways where they connect right there, and that this section can be open and closed. So it didn't need the largest queue line in the world like some of the ones I've built in the past, because it's just kind of like a mine train coaster. It's going to be a popular ride in the park, but it's not going to be the most popular in the park, so it doesn't need the largest queue line in the world. And this is going to be more of a smaller park anyways, so it's going to be like, think of like a family-owned kind of park. So but it is going to be part of the JLW entertainment chain. It's going to be like one of those smaller parks that are in kind of like maybe a smaller town or city or something like that, that they're putting on the map. And it's going to have some really good rides, though. It's going to have a great lineup of rides and coasters that I think will be noteworthy, and everything like that. So we're going to be adding rides to this every year as well. Again, with Westwood, currently working on a 2018 project with that as well. And then, of course, we have a lot of new stuff coming with Arrow Valley and Celebration City opening up in 2018. And this park is yet to have an announcement date of when it's going to be open. So it's going to be a great park, just like the other ones. And it's going to be a beautiful park, very heavily detailed. And that's why I've been trying to throw out a lot of episodes of this as well. So hopefully we'll get this mine train done in the next episode or two. I'm not sure how many episodes it's going to take, but again, we're doing some heavy detailing, and I still have to detail these buildings a lot more because they're not quite there just yet as well. So those are going to be something that is going to be coming into the future at the same time. So that's the extended queue building, and then we're going to be adding a lot of foliage and bushes and trees around this ride as well, to make it really go into like the woods and stuff, and it's going to be a really, really neat thing. So I also want to keep in mind kind of like a disabled entrance as well, because I want to make sure that disabled guests, if you want to be realistic, you got to have like those disabled entrances and stuff. It's just the way it's going to be. So anyways, let me guys know what you think. Let me all know what you think in the comment section below, and I will catch you guys next time. Make sure you have a great day and you're cooler tomorrow, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. That's about it for this episode. Just a little bit of lighting here at the end, and then we move on to the next episode next time. So thank you guys, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. And I will see you guys in the very next video. Thanks so much, and goodbye.